Glory be to God. Father, the hour has come to hear from you. Please speak to our hearts, open our eyes of understanding, and bless us through your words. At the end of our race, help us to reign with you. Thank you, Heavenly Father. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Welcome to another episode of Bible Lessons. In this episode, we are talking about peace is the answer. Peace is the answer. There is a story in the book of Mark chapter 4 verse 35 to 41. The same story is in the book of Matthew chapter 8 verse 23 to 27. You have the same story in the book of Luke chapter 8 verse 22 to verse 25. That's about when Jesus stilled the storm. They were moving from one place to the other, and there was a great storm. Jesus was sleeping. They called on Jesus. He woke up, he rebuked the storm and said, "Peace, be still." And of course, he rebuked the disciples and said, "Why are you so fearful?" And they were afraid because there was a great calm. They were afraid because the wind obeyed him. Now, there are a few lessons to learn from here. In this story, we can pick some stakeholders there. Yeah, there are some issues we can discuss. Of course, Jesus is the author of the story. Why? Because it's part of his earthly ministry. We have the disciples or the followers. Then we have the journey. They were on a journey. They were not at a spot. Then means of transportation. Okay. Then we have other little ships. According to Mark's account, he said there were other little ships that were following them. Then the storm came. They didn't call for the storm, but they were on a journey. Storm came. Was the storm there to attack them? We can't say. Was this storm sent to them? I can't say. But there was a storm, okay? And they cannot deny that the storm was not there. Now, they went to call on Jesus. They asked for help. Jesus rebuked the storm. It rebuked them of being fearful. So we have fear. Then peace came, and there was a great calm. Then the people, the disciples, they wonder. Now, life is a journey, and life is in facets. Each facet is a journey on its own. We have the personal life, we have spiritual life, we have social life, we have financial life, we have material life, we have career life. All these must balance. And what we need to ensure that we achieve that level of balance is peace. Sometimes we know, but it seems as if we need something else before the peace will come. What we need is peace. What will help us to get peace may not start as peace. Jesus said, "You men of little faith." But he did not say faith. He said, "Peace, be still." Which means when you have faith, faith will produce something. And that which faith will produce will meet up, will be able to give answer to the present challenge. One thing about faith is that it will always give you something that meets with the demand of the moment. Let's move on. There are uncertainties in the journey of life. We cannot rule that one out. Marital journey, there are uncertainties. You get there and you discover that this is not what I bargained for. This is not my expectation. There are uncertainties in the journey of life, in personal life, in social life. There are people when you just relax that, oh, these people, they are the kind of people I've been looking for. But again, you see what you were not expecting. Now, financial life, you see that you make effort, you try to get this. Sometimes what you're expecting is not coming. Sometimes what you're not expecting will come. It is not the negative things that we should be equipped to manage. Yeah, there are times that things are going the way you want it to go. You still need knowledge. You still need the grace to manage even what is going well. Now, you need to understand that these uncertainties will require different approaches. If you apply the right approach, you will grow through the uncertainties. Now, in the journey of life, everything counts. Your professionalism, your knowledge, your counsel, smartness, plan, meeting people, talking to people, everything counts. But most time, what you know, please pay attention to this. What you know will work. But other times, what will work is not what you know. I will repeat this. Most times, what you know, you apply it, it will work. But many times in the journey of life, what will work is what you don't know or are what you don't know. If life is a journey and there are uncertainties in the journey of life and there are life facets, yes, spiritual life, marital life, physical, personal life, career life, name it, social life. If life is a journey and they are in facets and there are uncertainties, what do you need in the journey of life? Is it money? Is it people? Or fame? What do we need? There are things that we feel and there are things that will not fail, but it will take another form so that you can navigate the present situation. Please pay attention as we look at those things. Of course, the first thing you need Jesus. They survived the storm not because they were skillful or they opened their mouths to ask for help. They survived because Jesus was in the ship with them. There are times you know what you need. You know how to ask for what you need. But the person that have what you need is not present with you. Jesus had the peace that can calm the storm. Jesus was in the ship with them. They turned to Jesus and the journey continued. Some, they were in a journey. In one facet of their lives, they've stopped the journey. The journey have stopped. Some, it could be spiritual life. That facet, they got to a point where there are situations that appear like a storm. It appeared like storm. They knew what they needed. They knew how to ask for it, but they could not see the person that has what they needed. Now, let's look at this. You need Jesus. Where? Not in form of knowledge. Because some of us know Jesus in terms of knowledge. You know the name. You know what he came to do. But you need to have him in your life. If they were to return and go and call Jesus to come and help them, I'm sure they may not get there because of the storm. But thank God Jesus was there. But another serious part of this story is that Jesus was sleeping. Oh my God. So they need to just go and wake him up. You need Jesus. Number two thing you need faith. And we have a growing faith. We have little faith, growing faith. But the one I want to emphasize on is what I call the interactive faith. Faith that interacts. Faith on its own. In fact, the Bible says faith without work is dead. So faith on its own may not give you what you need. Faith that is applied will give you what you need. So you need an interactive faith. Rahab the harlot's name was mentioned in the book of Hebrew as a woman of faith. But in our discussion with the spies that were sent there, she did not mention faith. She interacted with God's people. She interacted with covenant of God. She interacted with the spy sent by a man of God. Interactive faith. Yes. Interactive faith is what we need. And interactive faith will produce peace in times of storm. And interactive faith will produce internal peace. But honestly speaking, fear will only fuel the storm. Faith will produce peace. No storm can survive the presence of peace. What you need is not storm. No one in his normal state will call for storm. But what you are doing might bring up situations that look like storm. That is not the end of the journey. That is not the end of that relationship. There are marital storm, spiritual one, social storm. We have personal storm, where you have personality issue. There is certain thing that everybody is talking about in your life as part of your behavior. It will appear as storm when you invite Jesus, when you demonstrate interactive faith. Now, there will be peace. The peace will take care of the storm. And what people will see may not be peace per se, but they will see calmness. What you will say that your faith will produce is peace. Calmness will be the order of the day. That's the highest level of it. That is as if you are now making progress with little or no effort. Peace is the answer. Relax yourself. See clearly. Call on Jesus. Don't end what God has not ended. Don't terminate what God is still processing. Don't put full stop when what God is putting is comma. Peace is the answer. Get the right source. Get the right tool. Faith is what you need. What we need to overcome life challenges, sometimes they are not costly. With your faith and with Christ in you, you will see the end of that journey, because there are other things at the other side. At the other side of life, there are other things. Even when this natural physical life ends, there are still other things. The Lord will help us and open our understanding. Thank you for listening. I pray for you, the peace of God that surpasses understanding will be your portion. Jesus said, "My peace I give unto you, not like the world gives." Receive the peace of God in your home. Receive the peace of God in your personal life. Receive the peace of God in your social life. Receive the peace of God in your career life, in your academics, in your health. Receive the peace of God, and all will be well with you. In Jesus' mighty name. Thank you for listening. God bless you. See you next week by God's grace.